John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hey, Zach Berman is on the Comcast Business Hotline because every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business keep you ready for what's next. The always prompt Zach Berman joins us. You must have been the kid in school. Homework was done. Everything was turned. You're right on time all the time.
Absolutely.
I love that.
So Peterson used to say, be on time when time is kept.
There you go.
There you go.
Zach, all day we've been sort of discussing whether, the reaction to yesterday's game. And to me, I think Nick Sirianni is making things that shouldn't be complicated. What is your assessment? And I know some people have already read some of your stuff with The Athletic on it, but what is your overall assessment on yesterday's effort by the head coach?
I agreed with the decisions that he made as far as to go for it, especially the fourth down by the goal line. I disagreed with the play call, right? And whenever you're looking at a trick play, you're only judging the outcome. Frankly, I think that where he went wrong was first down, second down, third down. You had first and goal from the one. You shouldn't get the fourth down there. I don't think Nick Sirianni's play calling in that situation was good enough. Clearly, it was not. They did not score. But I think overall, Sirianni did not have his best day calling the game. When you only score 11 points, when your quarterback's 52%, there's a lot of things that the play caller can do better. And so that was my big takeaway.
Was he limited, Zach, yesterday in his play calling due to the play maybe of his quarterback? Were there some things that maybe Jalen Hurts, in your eyes, didn't do that maybe Nick Sirianni was expecting him to do?
Well, I did think Hurts held on to the ball too long in certain situations. I thought there were a few of those deep passes, which are obviously not high percentage passes, but there were deep passes that he underthrew that he could have put more air on it. But overall, I don't think Hurts was the problem per se, although he could have played better. I think that Sirianni did not scheme him up in the way that he did 1 week earlier.
Zach, were they so intimidated by the linebacking core of the 49ers that they were deciding that slants and things like that were not going to be called often, and they decided to just try to exploit the injured cornerbacks?
I think it's more the latter there. I think they saw that the 49ers were missing both their starters, and the Eagles like the speed that they have on the outside. I really think they wanted to stretch the field more. They wanted to use these wide receivers more. There were times when those guys were open. It was just they could not connect. So I don't think it was as much what the 49ers had in the middle of the field as much as what they lacked in the back end.
Zach, obviously a huge loss not only to the locker room but to the scheming on the field with Brandon Graham yesterday. Unfortunate to see. Now, Ryan Kerrigan out-snapped Josh Sweat yesterday. I assume that's just familiarity with the left side defensive end position when it happens in-game like that. Now that they have a week to prepare for Dallas on Monday Night Football, do you expect Derek Barnett and Josh Sweat or maybe a Hargrave or a Milton to kind of be rotational there with Kerrigan, or is that something we can expect to see a lot more Ryan Kerrigan?
I think you will see more Kerrigan, but I do think it's going to be Sweat and Barnett as your top two ends, and I think Milton Williams will get some time on the outside as well. So those will be your four guys. But my guess is Kerrigan's going to be there in the 40%, 50% range. They're going to mix those guys up. I don't see Kerrigan's role going down. I only see Kerrigan's role increasing, but I do think Sweat and Barnett are going to be the top two ends, although I know you didn't ask this part. I would say Derek Barnett really needs to cut down on those mindless, foolish penalties because that was a game-changing play there.
Yeah, you had the stat on that, Zach. I saw your tweet on it. What was it, eight of those in his career now as an Eagle?
He has 8 of those personal fouls, 6 of which are unnecessary roughness plays. And you try to distinguish the unnecessary roughness ones from maybe roughing the passer where he's just a tick too late. What you saw yesterday, that was the by definition of the penalty. That was unnecessary. It was unnecessary for the Eagles. It brought them from a 3rd and 15 when they needed to get the ball back to a 1st and 10. So just a mindless penalty that cost the Eagles.
Zach Berman from The Athletic is with us here on the Comcast Business Hotline, our Eagles Insider on Monday. I look at the work of Jonathan Ganon, though, over a couple weeks, and I've had a little bit of a boy crush, I got to admit, from the minute he was hired. I really like what he's doing and what he's doing it with, because the secondary is certainly not being exploited in any way, shape, or form, or the linebackers, really.
Well, I'll say you're not the only one, right? Before the season started, he's the name I kept hearing about throughout the league that pay attention to Jonathan Gannon. And through these first two games, he's lived up to his reputation because this defense is playing well. They're forcing teams off the field. That 97-yard drive at the end of the first half yesterday, when they allowed the big gain to Deebo Samuel, the 40-yarder, that you don't want to see that. But like other than that, they've kept big plays. They forced teams into third and long. They've gotten off the field on third down. So I think Gannon's group is a reason for optimism right now for the Eagles.
Zach, you just defined the defense there. Is there anything defining about the offense after just 2 games under Nick Sirianni that you can come away with?
Well, I mean, when we had the conversation last week, what jumped out is the way they were scheming to the quarterback, right? And I kept hearing throughout the offseason that this is going to be a matchup offense. They're going to it's going to change week to week based on what the opponents present. And I do think you saw that yesterday. You know, they had opportunities to try to exploit San Francisco deep. They didn't go deep as much in week one. So I think week to week they're going to adjust based on the opposing defense. That said, you need the quarterback to hit the passes and you need to call the plays in the right situations. I mean, frankly, that's a game that could have been 14-0, 17-0 at halftime, right? And so I think that they were moving the ball effectively. I don't want to pile on the Sirianni too much there. But when you obviously finish the game with 11 points, you need to look hard at to the outcome.
To your point, they had over 200 yards of offense in the first half. That wasn't the issue. It was putting points on the board. 2 things, just playing off that conversation there with the offense. Did Devontae Smith look small out there to you yesterday? It seemed like he kind of got gobbled up a little bit by Josh Norman, which, one, shocks me. And then second part of the question, Zach, where's the tight ends in the passing game? Is that a credit to D'Amico Ryans and San Fran, or do they need to get the tight ends a little more involved in the offense?
Well, to the first part of the question, I did not think Devontae looked small out there.
Okay.
You know, he drew 2 pass interference penalties. Clearly, what it seemed Norman's strategy was to try to be physical with him. I thought there were times downfield when Devontae had separation, frankly, and they just did not connect. So that was not my takeaway. But when I watched the game back, I will pay closer attention to that. And as far as the tight ends, I mean, when you have 2 tight ends, the quality of Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, they need more than 4 targets. So I know there were only 24 passing plays overall. But, I mean, Kenny Gainwell had 3 targets. The tight ends had 4 targets. So, without a doubt, they need to get those guys the ball.
So, with Dallas coming up and a Dallas week, this is another one where you expect the pressure gets amped up. Monday Night Football on the road. What do you expect? What do you expect the messaging to be out of NovaCare this week?
Well, so Nick Sirianni has a rivalry board in the team facility, and for full disclosure, we're not allowed in the facility right now because of COVID restrictions. But this is just something that I've heard from them that he has a rivalry board with different moments in team history against the rival. So by all means, I think the messaging is going to be ramped up going into the Cowboys. They know the importance of this, a Monday night game, a national game, two 1-1 teams. So, I mean, I don't expect this to be the type of thing where the loss from Sunday is going to linger. I think they turn the page quickly because they know the importance of this game.
Well, you're going to have at least some extra time this week to keep us entertained with great content in The Athletic. Everybody follow along. It is a worthwhile investment to be able to go and get access to everything that Zach Berman brings to the table. Zach, we love you and we appreciate you, buddy.
I appreciate it. Look forward to next week.
Yeah,
Thanks,
man.
Zach.
That is a tremendous. That is some of the best money I spend all year. I love the Athletic.
I love the Athletic.
God,
too.
yeah.
And it's not just Zach. I mean, I'm giving Zach props there, but I love the Athletics coverage. I think it's
they're fantastic.
worth
yeah.
every and you always get bonus offers.
The John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.